911, what's your emergency?
Jeff Koenig, we're here in the next unit that was completed at our fire project in Milwaukee, and we're going to show you the upper rear unit in this property. We're here in the living room, and one of the most unique features is the flooring. This flooring got completely replaced, and we use solid hardwood floor, which is an upgrade from most of the builder grade stuff that people are using elsewhere. This is solid maple, and it's a maple called brown maple, and you'll see that it has a tremendous amount of character and movement in it. And while it's about the same price, it gives it a unique look and I think sets it apart from every other apartment and clearly shows that this is not laminate. We always use Leveler mini blinds, and what's so great about our blinds that we encourage our customers to use is that they're cordless. So the cord in property management is the #1 thing that you will get a call to about blinds. It's always the cord that breaks. Because people are yanking at it at weird directions. So always spend the extra money. These are about $20, but they're worth every penny to make sure that you don't have issues down the road with them and they move on their own. Not as well as traditional blinds, but they still work. These are low E Energy Star rated windows and they were replaced as needed. This unit did not see much of the fire, so it did go down to the studs, but the windows will be able to remain in the majority of this unit. On the west side of the building, on the east side, we did replace all of the windows. Off of the living room, we're gonna come to the kitchen. And the kitchen has some unique features. We did stainless steel appliances throughout in this entire property. And what's great about these appliances is we added venting for the hood to the outside. Most of the properties of this vintage and also in some high-rise buildings don't have venting to the outside. So whenever we're able to get those smells out of the property, makes tenants happier, makes for less grease on the walls, and makes for a better experience overall for the tenants. This is a relatively small kitchen, but we did use porcelain tile because we do think that it wears better than the hardwood floors. People drop pans and plates. So when we put this porcelain tile floor down, it was really an improvement over the hardwood floor for durability's sake. And a key tip for us is always to save a piece or two in case someone does break this tile and we need to get one down the road. You'll see that we tiled the backsplash, and it's just simple doll tile, subway tile, all the way to the ceiling. That's an upgrade over most property management companies would just do a 4-inch backsplash in this solid surface countertop that we did. This is meant to look like Carrara marble. It's actually a quartz. We did a large sink. This is Sterling by Kohler. Sterling by Kohler also did the bathroom fixtures, as we'll see. And this has what's called an air switch, which means that we can eliminate switches on the back wall. That's a custom feature that we use in our construction company on homes. This is a faucet that has a sprayer integrated into the head of it. Normally we don't put these in because they're property management nightmares, but we thought because this is an upgraded unit, that's what we're going to do. These are all maple drawers with quiet close features on them, and they are full extension and they're Bloom hardware. These solid maple cabinets are something that our company has a contract with to sell. So we are a dealer for this cabinet line, and we're able to provide those to all of our customers at a deeply discounted price. And we think that the durability of them and the look of them really sets your apartment apart, especially from the builder grade stuff that's made out of laminate or melamine that you could get at Home Depot or in some of these large construction projects where they're really on a budget and they're using real crap. These are solid plywood and maple with quiet close drawers. Another nice thing to do, since there isn't a built-in pantry, is we did pantry cabinetry here, and we need to put a stop on that so that it doesn't bang into the refrigerator anymore and finish up here. But we still haven't done our final walkthrough, and we're showing it to you before the public gets to see it. There is a window, 2 windows here that were replaced, and these look out and you can really see the extent of the fire damage next door on the roof. And that was what transferred to this building. And with the cut-in shots, you'll see the extent of the siding repair that we needed to do to get the fire damage cured and get this property back up and running. It required a new roof, which we did. It required siding repair, new doors, new windows, and then all of the units except one to go completely down to the studs. So let's head out of the kitchen and show you the rest of this apartment. We did elect for drywall returns here, and during the drywall phase, you can choose to either put rock here or not. And usually if you had the money, a cased opening might be nice to have wood around it, but this is a lot less expensive. And if you're on a budget, I think that this is probably a better option and what most property managers are gonna pick. We did install a very basic baseboard detail here. This is a 6-inch baseboard made of MDF. It's not 3/4 inches thick like you would normally see. So this is a great budget baseboard. It still gives you that height with the high ceilings that we have here, which are 9 feet. And then we finished it off with a shoe detail. I know that may be unique to the Midwest. In a lot of other places, the baseboard is scribed to the floor, but in the Midwest, we use shoe molding, and that hides any imperfections in these old buildings. This building was built in the late 1800s, in the 1890s. So let's continue on to the bedrooms, and on the way, we'll check out this thermostat, which powers the individual HVAC units that we put in for every one of the units. So now it is completely divided. When this started, they were all on a common boiler, and that's great for the ownership group here. There'll be less expense going forward because each unit can control their own, which eliminates expense, but also allows people to be more comfortable controlling their own heat and air conditioning. Off to the left was the aforementioned laundry center. We do an all-in-one unit instead of the stackers because we've realized over time that the stackers, while you may be able to replace one if one breaks, you oftentimes can't find a matching one. So these are a better option. They're probably a little bit less expensive. They're not quite as nice visually, but we found as property managers that they're just more robust for a property management setting. But if we were doing a condo like an HOA or a more upscale building, we would definitely use different stackers, but this is perfect for this property. Let's head on into the bathroom, and then I'll show you the bedrooms next. In the bathroom, we carried the same tile as the rest of the unit. This is a 12 by 24 tile in porcelain, and we used a gray grout. It's really important, like the kitchen, to use a relatively dark grout because tenants are going to stain it regardless of the included anti-stain properties of the grout or any sealer you may put on it. This is our favorite toilet, the American Standard Champion 4. This thing can flush a ton of golf balls. With State Fair just ending, we haven't had any clogs. So this continues to be our favorite toilet, 4-inch full flush valve, and definitely a great option. This unit has a Broan 744, which is a light and fan combo, and it's turned on with the switch to the bathroom that turns on the lights. That's another property management hack, is to make sure that your fan is always turned on when the bathroom lights turn on. We wire them together. That forces the tenants to use the fan and make sure that it's always in use, so your chances of mold in the bathroom are less. Additionally, when we paint, we always use a mildewcide in the paint, and we use that in every single room, just so that people who may not take as good care as their home as you do don't get mold in their property. We still have a little bit of work to do on the punch list here. I'm noticing some molding missing. We'll be back later this week to finish that out. Let's take a look at the bedrooms, and I think that, one more thing before we leave the bathroom. This is a Sterling Accord surround, and while it does look nicer to have tile, the wipeability and durability of this all-in-one, it's actually a 3-piece wall set and a tub, is greatly superior to tile over a tub, and definitely something I would suggest in secondary bathrooms or in properties that aren't super high-end. You'll see these tile bathrooms in properties in Milwaukee that exceed probably $4,000 in rent, but under that, this is completely acceptable. Tenants actually prefer it because it's easier to clean, it makes our turnovers easier, and just general waterproofing a ton easier and a ton faster, so that we're not slowed down by having to tile these bathrooms and worry about having mold or anything else later. Everything is self-sealing. We'll show you mud setting this tub so it feels really solid, even though it's an acrylic tub. Let's step into the bedrooms and show you a little bit about those. Again, we have a very simple molding here, and we have solid core doors. These are called single panel solid core doors, and that's because there is a single panel. And we use Quickset hardware. Schlage is a little bit more premium, but we've found that the Quickset hardware is the best value to performance ratio. And these are only about $12. Definitely don't cheap out on the hardware because it's a major touch point. So not only does it break, it also has the feel of quality. So don't go to Home Depot or Menards and buy the Defiant brand or whatever the house brand is, or go on Amazon. Make sure you buy something quality. It's $3 or $4 more, but I think it's worth it, and you'll have fewer maintenance troubles going forward. Step on into the bedroom and we'll show you that the floor runs throughout. We have LED lighting on the entirety of the ceiling, interconnected smoke detectors. The HVAC registers come down from the ceiling, which is the way we were able to retrofit the HVAC system. Both of the upper units have the HVAC system in the attic, and they are down feeding. And then we put in a beautiful closet here. We still need to put the knob on the door, but another hack is to use a metal rod, because tenants tend to hang too many things on it, and we want to use a solid piece of wood with a metal rod under it. And the metal rod, you can really put a lot of weight on it before it fails. So we will always want that to go into a wood backer that's supported by at least 2 studs, and that will stop the maintenance, another common maintenance call, which is my closet rod fell down. Again, out the window, we can see the devastation from the fire. These windows were replaced here. And another hack that we have is make sure that you're getting your coax installed by your electrician, so that people have the option to put TVs wherever they want, and that they're not running new cables along the outside of your building. Cable guys love it. I'm sure they're paid by the cable, because they really ruin all the buildings that we work on. So internally running them so they drop to the basement is the way to do it. Take a look at the devastation next door, and you'll see what this property went through. That building will be demoed in the next few months, and we're just waiting on the city to put more pressure on the neighbor, and maybe we'll be able to show you that demolition project as it happens. We'll see. Actually, another thing to see out this window is the new roof that we put on the flat portion. We do have some aerial drone footage that we'll show you, but this used to be a door to a patio with a railing around it. And anytime we can get rid of a walkable surface for property managers, we always suggest that to our clients. Yes, on super premium products, a deck is a bonus where people will pay extra, but here it's a danger because it could cause a fire with people grilling next to a wooden structure. Also, these membranes, this one particular is TPO by Firestone, is not meant to be walked on. So this door became a window, and this became now a perfectly waterproof surface where you're not gonna have anyone walking on it. We're gonna put a sticker on here not to exit, and the lease of the property owner has very clear rules about walking on the porch because there is no railing. So let's walk back out of the unit and wrap it up, and then we will show you the downstairs, which was the last to be completed. We haven't yet talked to you about the lock system in this property and all the properties for our clients. We encourage them to be on what's called a master key. The master key gets you into any property that you own. So we have two options with our company. Each of our clients sometimes have a key per building, or they'll have a key per management company. We really like when they have a key per management company because then we can keep one in our office and always have access to it when we're going there. But some of the very large buildings that trade hands multiple times or maybe sold every 3 to 5 years for a 1031 exchange into something bigger, those are keyed per property so that maintenance technicians from the next company don't have access to other properties that that company may own. So this key is keyed to a master as well as a key for the unit that is unique to this unit. And then the other thing that occurs here is you'll see that there's a little difference in the finish because we can't get the lock from the same source. This is a commercial lock. This is just a residential passage knob. And we use a passage knob here because it forces people to use their key on the deadbolt. And this is another hack. We don't want people to lock themselves out because that's a property management nightmare. You have to come back to work in the middle of the night when someone's drunk and hit the inside latch and lock their door behind them without going. So we definitely don't put keyed locks on the bottom. Encourage people only to use the deadbolt. And then on the strike, we're putting 3.5-inch screws that are going into the king stud to make sure that no one can edge their way in. And this is a lock that could traditionally be defeated with a credit card. So people understand that the deadbolt is the way to go. This forces people to only use the deadbolt.